If you have ever hiked into the backcountry with a rifle strapped to your pack, you already know one thing. The gear you bring either earns its place or becomes dead weight fast. And when it comes to precision hunting rifles, there is no room for disappointment. Not when the weather turns ugly, not when the shot is the only one you are going to get, not when the rifle in your hands might decide whether you come home with meat or come home empty. That is exactly why I started this project for Scoper 90 Degrees. I wanted to break down the rifles that are actually worth every dollar, not because the marketing says so, but because they hold up when the mountains do everything they can to break you. These are the rifles I would trust when I am 5 miles deep, exhausted, soaked, and the moment finally arrives where everything depends on a clean trigger press. Some of them are lightweight, some are overbuilt, and each one brings something different to the table, but only a few have proven they can survive real-world abuse and still deliver the accuracy you need when the shot is all that matters. And that is what we are diving into today. 5 precision rifles that hunters, backcountry guys, and serious preppers keep recommending for a simple reason. They work, even when nothing else does. Let's get into the first one. The Savage 110 Carbon Predator is one of those rifles that does not just sit in the truck until it is needed. It is the kind to sit in the truck until it is needed. It is the kind of rifle that earns its place every time you step off the trail, because it brings the right mix of accuracy, durability, and field comfort without pretending to be something it is not. Savage made a smart move when they partnered with Proof Research to build a carbon fiber wrapped stainless steel barrel, and that decision sets the tone for the rifle's entire personality. It cuts real weight and cools fast, which matters more than people admit when they are running repeat shots on coyotes or brushing off dirt after carrying it all day. I run the rifle in .308 Winchester with a 22-inch barrel, and the balance feels natural whether you are weaving through thick brush or settling in behind your pack for a long, deliberate shot. The accuracy is solid, well under a minute with common hunting loads, and the barrel holds groups tighter than rifles that cost significantly more. The AccuTrigger has always been one of the best factory triggers on the market. Mine breaks just under 3 pounds with a clean, predictable feel that never punishes you for wearing gloves or shooting in awkward positions. The spiral fluted bolt runs clean even after you drop it in fine sand, and the 3-position tang safety is simple, silent, and confidence boosting. When you are moving fast or working around others. The AccuFit stock is another practical feature that looks unimportant on paper but makes all the difference in the field. Adjusting comb height and length of pull for different layers or optics keeps the rifle feeling like it was built around you instead of the other way around. And the rugged textured finish handles scratches, moisture, and rough handling better than most rifles in this class. One of the biggest advantages is the AICS pattern magazine system. You get 10 rounds ready to run without dealing with traditional hunting magazine limitations, and that matters in scenarios where shot opportunities or threats do not wait politely for you to reload. At around $1,700, the 110 Carbon Predator is not a budget rifle by any stretch, but it is absolutely worth the investment. If what you want is a bolt gun that rides hard, shoots straight, and keeps performing when everything else around you is falling apart, is a rifle built for hunters, preppers, and anyone who needs something they can trust when the shot simply has to count. There is something about the Tikka T3X Superlite that makes it stand out from the moment you carry it into real terrain. It is not flashy. You carry it. It is not flashy. It is not built to impress people at the gun counter. It is not flashy. It is not built to impress people at the gun counter, and it does not try to be anything more than a rifle that works every single time you ask it to. I picked mine up because I needed a lightweight bolt gun I could trust when moving fast through steep ridges or when bad weather turned a routine hunt into a survival problem. After years of use, if I had to disappear into the woods tomorrow and live off whatever I could shoot, this is the rifle I would grab without hesitation. The fluted stainless steel barrel is more than just a weight-saving feature. It stays cooler on repeat shots and does not rust even when it stays wet longer than you would like to admit. Mine is chambered in .308 Winchester, and it has more than enough authority for deer, hogs, and anything else that might step out inside 500 yards. That is the sweet spot for this rifle. It handles like a featherweight, but shoots tight enough to embarrass rifles that weigh 2 pounds more. Sub-MOE groups are normal, and you do not need boutique ammo to get them. The action is where Tikka really flexes. The 2-lug bolt, with its 70-degree throw cycles, with a smoothness that feels almost unreal for a rifle in this price range. Even covered in grit or cold mud, the bolt keeps moving like nothing happened. The trigger is adjustable from 2 to 4 pounds, and mine breaks at 2.5, with a crisp, predictable feel that keeps you honest on uneven terrain with wind clawing at your ears. The synthetic stock is pure practicality, with texture where you need grip and reliability instead of cosmetics. Carrying just over 6 pounds bare, the Superlite feels more like a carbine than a full-sized rifle, and that matters when you have been climbing for hours and your legs are starting to question all of your life decisions. The detachable magazine, holding 3 to 5 rounds depending on caliber, has never given me a single feeding issue, and I have not exactly treated mine gently. For a rifle priced between $850 and $1,100, the T3X Superlite punches far above its class. It is not just a hunting rifle. It is a tool you can depend on for meat, security, or survival when the world stops caring about your comfort. The Weatherby Mark V. Backcountry 2.0. Carbon is not the kind of rifle you buy just to admire in the safe. This is the rifle you buy just to admire in the safe. This is the rifle you carry when you know you are heading into country. This is the rifle you carry when you know you are heading into country that will punish everything you bring. I keep mine ready for the moments when there is no backup, no cell service, and no margin for gear failure. Out in steep terrain where the wind cuts sideways and the elevation chews on your lungs, this rifle has proven over and over why so many backcountry hunters swear by it. It is brutally light, shockingly accurate, and built like it expects to be dragged through a rock field rather than set gently on a bench. The heart of this rifle is the Mark V Action, Weatherby's signature 9-lug bolt with a slick 54-degree throw. It cycles faster and smoother than most heavy hunting rifles. And it never hangs up on the optic, no matter how cold or dirty things get. I have run this action in rain, snow, dust, and everything in between, and it has never stuttered. That says a lot when you are miles from the trailhead and relying on gear that simply cannot quit. The tension carbon fiber barrel, built around a 416R stainless core, is more than a fancy talking point. It stays consistent in awkward shooting positions, whether you are braced on sticks, leaning against a rock, or trying to get steady in fallen timber. The Peak 44 Blacktooth carbon fiber stock is another big reason this rifle is such a backcountry favorite. At under 6 pounds bare, the rifle carries like nothing at all, which matters when you are hauling elevation and gear all day. Even with the light weight, the 3D printed recoil pad and the AccuBrake St. muzzle brake tame recoil better than you would expect, even with Magnum rounds like the 300 Weatherby Mag. I run mine in 280 Ackley improved because it hits hard without beating me into the ground, but the rifle comes in several calibers depending on how much punch you want behind your shot. The Patriot Brown Cerakote and Sponge Pattern Camo are more than aesthetics. They keep the rifle protected against the long-term weather abuse that backcountry hunters deal with season after season. And that is exactly what this rifle is built for, long-term trust. At around $3,300, the Backcountry 2.0 Carbon is undeniably an investment, but it is not a collector's piece. This is the rifle you take when the terrain gets ugly, the distances stretch long, and failure is simply not allowed. It is the rifle I keep zeroed and ready when things go sideways, because when every other piece of gear might break, this one keeps standing. The Christensen Arms Ridgeline FFT Titanium is the rifle you start appreciating only after you have carried it farther than you planned and realized it is the one piece of gear that never made your day harder. That is exactly why I bought mine in the first place. I needed a precision rifle that could deliver long-range consistency without turning into a 5-mile anchor strapped to my pack. After seasons of hard use in rough country, steep climbs, and freezing wind, I can say with confidence that this rifle is more than a lightweight novelty. It is one of It is one of novelty. It is one of It is one of the backcountry tools I have ever relied on. The titanium receiver is what cable backcountry tools I have ever relied on. The titanium receiver is what sets the foundation for everything this rifle does well. It trims real weight without sacrificing strength, and paired with a spiral fluted bolt, the action runs with a smoothness that feels almost out of place when you consider how little this rifle weighs. Even covered in dust and pine needles after days in the field, it keeps cycling clean. The 416R stainless steel barrel wrapped in premium carbon fiber is hand-lapped, and it delivers the kind of sub-MOA precision you expect from a rifle designed for serious mountain work. Shoot it prone, shoot it from rocks, shoot it in a crosswind that feels like it wants to peel your hat off. This rifle holds its point of impact. The included titanium side baffle brake does a surprisingly effective job taming recoil, especially in hard-hitting calibers like 300 PRC. When you are lying on uneven rock at 9,000 feet, breathing hard with cold air scraping your throat, having that recoil managed makes a real difference in your follow-through and your confidence. The flash forged technology carbon fiber stock is another major highlight. It is feather light, rigid, and completely unmoved by the temperature swings you deal with in real backcountry terrain. You can drag it across rock, pack it through brush, and bump it off logs without worrying about it losing zero. At just 4.8 pounds bare, the Ridgeline FFT titanium feels like nothing on your shoulder but delivers accuracy like a full-size precision rifle. Add a lightweight scope and a sling, and you are still under most rifles before accessories. It is available in practical calibers like 308, 6.5 Creedmoor, and 300 PRC, letting you tailor the rifle to your terrain and your game. At around $3,000, it sits firmly in the high-end category, but this is one of those rifles where the weight savings and performance actually justify the cost. When you are hunting deep in the mountains or relying on your rifle for security in unpredictable situations, every ounce matters, and this rifle gives you performance without the penalty. The first time I carried the Bergara Premier Canyon deep into high-elevation country, I knew immediately this rifle was built for more than casual weekend hunts. It is the kind of bolt gun you trust when you are miles from the nearest trailhead. Weather is turning against you, and the shot you are planning might be the only one you get before daylight fades. For hunters who push into unforgiving terrain, or preppers who believe their rifle should handle whatever the world throws at them, the Premier Canyon hits that rare balance of precision, strength, and practical design. The foundation of the rifle is Bergara's premier two-lug action. It uses a floating bolt head, a cone-shaped bolt nose, and a sliding plate extractor to keep cycling smooth. Even when the rifle is wet, dusty, or has been smashed around inside a pack all day, it ejects clean, feeds predictably, and never gives you that gritty hesitation that can cost you a shot when your heart rate is already elevated at 10,000 feet. The number 4 contour stainless steel barrel is fluted to shave weight, and depending on the caliber, you get either a 20 or 22-inch length. The Sniper Gray Cerakote finish has held up better than many rifles I have owned at higher price points. Scratches, moisture, and rough I have owned at higher price points. Scratches, moisture, and rough handling barely make a mark. I run mine in 300 PRC because, frankly, when you are chasing big-bodied elk or dealing with uncertain survival scenarios, having that kind of power on tap matters. The factory Omni muzzle brake does a solid job reducing recoil, making those fast follow-up shots more manageable when you are braced awkwardly on uneven ground. And because the barrel is threaded 5/8 by 24, swapping to a suppressor is quick if you prefer staying quiet or using blast in tight terrain. The AG Composites carbon fiber stock is one of the smartest choices Bergara made with this rifle. It cuts weight without sacrificing rigidity, and it handles temperature swings better than many traditional stocks. That puts the rifle in the sweet 6.2 to 6.5 pound range, which is light enough for long climbs but still heavy enough to stay stable on long shots. The TriggerTech frictionless release trigger breaks clean every time, and the Pachmayr decelerator recoil pad surprisingly absorbs more shock than you would expect from a rifle in this weight class. With caliber options such as 308 Winchester, 6.5 Creedmoor, 6.5 PRC, and 300 PRC, the Premier Canyon is versatile enough for everything from deer to serious elk hunting or even defensive roles when times get rough. Priced between $2,300 and $2,500, it is not cheap, but the value is absolutely there. When you are on your own in rugged country and the mountains do not care, this is the kind of rifle you want on your back.